Hi, I'm Jonathan Fisher, and one of my subscribers had asked me to do a video about the French bow, about how to set it up. Am I using the right amount of rosin? Am I turning the screw enough? So here it is. I hope you find it helpful. So the first thing let's talk about is the parts of the bow. All right. This part, the main part here, is the stick. Right. From here to here, the stick. And this is called the tip. Right? So the stick is attached to the frog. This chunk of ebony here is called the frog. Right? It's what pulls on the hair and tightens it up. And while we're there, this is the hair. Right? It's made out of horsetail hair. And on my bow, it's black and white hair, black hair and unbleached white hair. It's a blend called salt and pepper. It's kind of in the middle. I like it. Also, a part of the bow that's important is the screw. This is what we turn to tighten or loosen the bow hairs, right? So let's talk about that now. Let's talk about tightening and loosening your bow hairs, right? I like to, from the hair is pretty loose, and I'm showing you the slackness of the hair, right? And you don't want to touch the hairs with your fingertips ever. The oil and dirt from your fingers can affect the way the rosin sticks to the hairs and affect the way you play. So the hair's pretty slack, right? So I'm going to take the screw and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's see, 7, 8, let's go 9, right? Now every bow is different, and depending on how old your hair is or new it is, it might take less or more. But the determining factor for me is how the bow feels when I press it down, right? And I'm using my fingers to emulate the strings, right? And once again, I'm using the back of my fingers. I'm not using the tips of my fingers, which are dirty and oily. And I don't want to get that on my bow hair, right? So use it on the back of your fingers, and you adjust that tension there, right? See how when I push down with my bow grip on the bow, I'm pushing down this way with the bow. It pushes the stick down into the hairs, right? And I want, when I'm playing, I want that stick to kind of just barely touch the hair when I'm playing real loud, right? So once again, you have to get your bass out, and once again, everybody's different. Some people like more tension, some like less tension. This feels pretty good to me, but it's something you have to feel. It's hard to get that across in a video. Anyway, so that brings us to rosining the hairs, all right? So let's move the camera down to the rosin table here. There we go. All right, there's some rosin. So these days, I like Pops rosin. Good old traditional Pops base rosin, right? It's a standby. So we'll pull it out of here. My cake's kind of melty. Pops is a softer rosin, so it melts easy. I put foil on mine, and it's been used. But anyway, what I like to do is I like to get the hairs. I like to find a corner of the rosin, and I like to put the hairs on that corner and pull the hairs across, right? Some people say you have to pull up, only pull down, or only pull up. I haven't found a difference. I do both, down and up, right? And I'll put it, and if I need a little more rosin at the tip, if I know I'm going to be out there, I'll do that, or down at the frog. I'll put a little bit extra on at the frog, or also in the middle, right? And there's many different kinds of rosin that people use. There's Swedish rosin, Kolstein, jade, all sorts of rosin. It just depends on what kind of playing you do and what you want. I like Pops because it has a nice, harsh, not really harsh, but strong, solid attack on the bow. And it has a good sustain, right? Okay, so now that we've rosined, right? Now you play, and then your bow gets rosin all over it, right? Rosin's going to get caked up on your bow here over time, and up here over time, and rosin's going to cake on the stick as well. So let's talk about cleaning the bow now. So we're going to loosen the hairs. Oh yeah, some of you are wondering, I bet, what this piece of rubber here is on my bow, right? I should have talked about that earlier, but anyway, we'll talk about it now. It's just like a piece of surgical tubing or a rubber tube that a lot of players like to use. It's a little sticky. It makes me grab the bow in a different way. It kind of helps me grab the bow. It puts a little more weight in my hand too of the bow. It makes the frog end slightly heavier, so it puts weight in your bow, and I like the tip to be a little lighter for the kind of playing that I do, right? Some guys like the tip to be heavier and less weight in their hand. Once again, everything depends on the kind of playing you do. But I like this little rubber thing here, and you can get those online at Lemur Music, or contact me and I'll tell you where to get them. So anyway, we're going to clean the bow. We're going to loosen the hairs until they're slack. And I'm going to use my thumb, once again, not my fingertips, but the back of my thumbnail, to kind of just spread out the hair and kind of air them out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take this. This is a denture brush. I use a denture brush because it's larger. The bristles are stiffer than a normal toothbrush. And it's got this neat little thing here on it too. It's a nice tool. So anyway, you take your denture brush and you put it down in the hairs, right? And then you gently just brush out your hairs, right? You do this kind of a motion, right? Get down in there. If there's a lot of rosin up in a certain spot, you can turn it over and use this little thing and kind of work it out. Right, but they do real good. I clean my bow hairs a lot, and I found that my bow hairs last a lot longer when I keep them clean. Right? You can do the other side as well. Okay, so anyway, after we do that, now we want to do the stick, because the stick's going to have rosin on it too. And when rosin cakes on the stick, it adds a little weight, and also it makes it a little stiffer. The bow is vibrating as well. Everything when we play is vibrating. The bass, the bow, everything. So I want to help that, right? So I'm going to just grab the rag and kind of pinch my hands around the stick, right, like that, and just wipe the rosin off. And some of it's going to be pretty sticky. You got to put some elbow grease on, especially for me in the middle of my bow in this area where the stick is closer to the hairs. It gets more rosin on it there. So I want to make sure and get all that rosin off of there. And it plays a little different. If you've got a lot of rosin on your bow and you clean it off, it's going to play a lot different and a lot smoother and a lot better. All right. Well, that's it for this video. Whoops. Let's get it back to up here. I hope that's been helpful. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm actively seeking new students in person and virtually. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And happy bass playing. Hope to see you out there.